I guess the house doesn't always win as the Blue Jackets pick up a big 2 points in Vegas. We're going to talk about how big this win is on today's Locked On Blue Jackets.
You're Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, here to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before we get things started, I want to thank everyone for making this your first listen of the day every single day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and over on YouTube. I also have to let you know that this episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Big win last night. In the grand scheme of things, like on paper, this wasn't like a huge game. Like it is a Western opponent on the road that the Blue Jackets will see one more time this season. And if they win, great. If they lose, there's no shame in losing to a good team, right? Like, except the Blue Jackets didn't lose; they won. And they jumped back into a playoff position, which is great. They are tied with points for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Both of them are sitting in wildcard spots right now. They jumped the Bruins, and they kept ahead of the Red Wings and the Islanders, who both won last night. So everything's coming up Columbus right now. So I want to talk about Cole Sillinger. I want to talk about Elvis Merzlikins. I want to talk about the 5-on-5 play, which that was going to be the one of the keys to the game was, can you win the 5-on-5 battle? And honestly, call it a draw and take it. Another overtime win. Have the Blue Jackets figured out how to score in overtime? Quite possibly. So lots to talk about today. I wanted to give a quick rundown before we started of last night's wildcard race, what happened, the teams that we needed to win mostly won. So good news on that front. Blue Jackets currently sitting at 57 points. They are 7 points behind the New Jersey Devils, who are sitting third in the Metro right now. But the Devils have 2 games in hand on the Blue Jackets. Like I said, Tampa Bay sitting at the same number of points, but they have a game in hand over the Blue Jackets. They get wildcard 1. Blue Jackets, wildcard 2, 57 points. Knocking on the door, we've got the Boston Bruins at 56. We've got Detroit at 55. New York and Montreal, the Islanders, I should say, and Montreal at 53. The Rangers and the Penguins, the Rangers and the Flyers. I don't know why I can't read today. The Rangers and the Flyers sitting at 52. The Penguins sitting at 50, and the Buffalo Sabres exist. In terms of last night, Tampa Bay won, Detroit won, the Islanders won. They're on a 6-game winning streak right now, which is they're coming. The Bruins lost, the Canadiens lost, the Flyers lost. So, and the Senators won in overtime, but they're up third in the Atlantic at the minute. They're only a point ahead of the Blue Jackets, but they're up there right now. So they are. We'll keep an eye on them, but they're not really an issue at the minute. Blue Jackets continuing to keep pace or better with the rest of the wildcard pack. Currently sitting at a record of 25-19-7. 25 wins is what a lot of people predicted this team to have. Quite honestly, I feel like, again, this team just continues to succeed. Last season they had 27 wins in 82 games, so they are only 2 games off their total for all of last season. So again, massively improved team. Goal differential is in the plus. I believe the only teams with more home wins are the Maple Leafs, the Hurricanes, the Jets, and that's it. They have 18 home wins. 17 home wins. Okay, so the Stars, the Oilers also have more, but those are the only teams that have more home wins than than the Blue Jackets right now, which is really great. The away record is improving. It's still not like great. They're 8-14-4 as of last night's win. The only teams that have fewer wins on the road are Nashville, Chicago, and San Jose, who are, right down at the basement of the thing. So, again, if they can figure out how to win on the road, then we're going to be cooking here. But can they win on the road? Can they win the second half of a back-to-back? We'll discuss that at some point. But big win. Everyone did just great. Let's talk about Adam Fantilli for a minute, who has been, again, just continues to excel. I believe he now has, in 10 games since Monahan went down with the injury and Fantilli got elevated to that top line, he has 10 points in 10 games. Got another goal last night for his 15th of the season. He's up to, I want to say 20, yeah, he's up to 29 points on the year. A career high for him. Last year, he only played 49 games, but he hit 27 points in those 49 games. This year, 51 points, 51 games, 29 points. Again, another really, really solid game from Adam Fantilli. The stupidest goal I've seen in a minute. Both the goals the Blue Jackets scored last night were really stupid, but the Fantilli one was like really stupid. I don't know how it went in. I thought for sure it was going to get blown dead, or it was going to get whistled down, or they were going to decide that it was goaltender interference, because nobody knows what goaltender interference is, but he stuck with it. It just kind of slid in. I don't think, like, it's not going to be like the easiest goal he's ever scored, but like it might be up there. Like, it just kind of, he waved at the puck, and I think it went off of a Golden Knights skate, and then just kind of really, really slowly rolled in. Marchenko was there to make sure it went in if it had stopped. But hey, they don't ask how, they ask how many, right? And his 15th of the season opened the scoring for the team and for the not for the game, tied the game. And that was the last regulation goal of the game. But like, again, Adam Fantilli, I have absolutely no complaints with how he's doing since taking over from Monahan. Obviously, it sucks to be missing Monahan, but the kids are all right. Like, having Sillinger back is great as well. I want to talk about him in a second here. Which I want to talk about this at some point, and now is not the right time. But there's a lot of conversation about both Elias Pettersson and JT Miller out of the Canucks. And some people are saying the Blue Jackets should go after JT Miller. Some people are saying that they should go after Elias Pettersson. Some people are saying that they shouldn't go after either of them. And I'm kind of in that last camp, if only because, and maybe this is me being sentimental, but I feel like if you look at the Rantanen trade as kind of this is about what it'll take to get a player like Pettersson, potentially. Carolina gave up the equivalent of Marchenko and Cole Sillinger. Now, I don't think it'll take Marchenko and Cole Sillinger to get Pettersson, but you have to think that Sillinger is going to be up in one of, like, in that trade. You have to think that Sillinger is going to be at least one of the pieces going back the other way. And I don't know that that's the move. Like, chemistry is really important. This group is really close, and I think Cole Sillinger is growing. He's under team control for at least another year after this one, maybe 2. I don't remember what his contract is like off the top of my head. But if you bring in Pettersson, then, like, honestly, does that drop Adam Fantilli down to being your third-line center? Because one of Monahan, Pettersson, and Fantilli is going to have to be your third-line center unless you move one of them to the wing, which doesn't seem like, that makes no sense. Like, that's kind of a crazy deep center group, but I don't know if it's the move for the Blue Jackets. We'll talk about it in more detail probably next week if nothing happens, if nothing changes. But like, I've got to be thinking about, like, what this team looks like right now, and do you subtract, do you add, do you what do you do? And like honestly, the more I look at it, the more I sit on the side of like just don't change things. You know, you'll get Chinikov back hopefully soon. He was at practice yesterday, but left early. I guess he's not quite ready to be a full participant yet, but good sign to get him on the ice. Obviously, Jed is going to be back soon. That's going to be big. But beyond that, like, don't go crazy, you know? Anyway, now that I have successfully distracted myself from what I was talking about, let's take a quick break. And then when we get back, let's talk about the return of Cole Sillinger, who missed, I think, 3 games with an injury and came back with a vengeance. That's coming up next here on Locked On Blue Jackets. First, I'm going to tell you about Game Time. Attending NFL playoff games is an unforgettable experience that brings fans together. Now, I've never been to an NFL playoff game, but last year my father-in-law went to the Super Bowl and he got his tickets on Game Time, and it was, quite frankly, the best decision he could have made. Game Time is super easy to use. The tickets are better deals than any other ticketing website. They have a better customer service policy. They have a low price guarantee. So if you find tickets in your section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference, which is awesome. They've also got a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. We've talked about Adam Fantilli. Let's talk about Cole Sillinger, who slid right back in as kind of the de facto 2C of this team. And I thought looked great. Obviously missing some time due to he blocked a shot, I believe, and his hand got all like nasty and swollen and bruised. But he looked pretty close to 100% out there to me. I know they were saying that he's not 100% yet, but he's like good enough to go, and it's not going to make it worse if he plays with it, So my guess is that he's probably in that stage where like his hand is all yellow and kind of gross looking, but is not actually like he's basically done healing. But he's back. Big goal last night. Great play. Again, not the easiest goal he's ever going to score, but definitely up there, I think. Monster play by Kent Johnson to strip the puck away from Pietrangelo and then turn on the Jets. And I've never really thought about Kent Johnson having like a massive amount of foot speed, but like that might have been one of the things he worked on over the summer because he flew down that wing. Kind of a chaotic play at the end. Like Wrenski was there. I thought the puck was going to go in there. And then Sillinger comes up and just, again, wide open net, buries it. Great return from him. And like Luca Del Babaluz has done a great job on that second line, kind of filling in for Sillinger. And I thought he was good again last night. Just as a real good, like a really annoying player, and a really smart player as well. I talked about this a little bit on Twitter of like you watch like he reads the game really well and he'll make these little plays that seem like nothing. And I'm like, oh, actually, no, that was the perfect play. Like he made a little behind the back pass to Provorov instead of like skating straight forward. He just kind of like knocked it over maybe 10 feet, and Provorov had like a clear line all the way into the offensive zone. So, but again, double blues, great. Having Sillinger back, better. Not to say that Sillinger is better than Del Babaluz, even though I think probably, his ceiling is higher. Del Babaluz did a great job filling in. But Sillinger is just such a specific player, and I haven't really got the words for it, but like he just works hard, and hard work beats talent when the talent doesn't work hard, But that's not to say that Cole Sillinger isn't talented, but I think he adds a lot of depth to this team, especially down the middle, especially with Monahan out. I think that's what's been missing the last handful of games is depth down the middle. Fantilli's done a great job of filling in for Monahan. Luca Del Bovolu's done a great job of filling in for Sillinger, but having Sillinger back means that you can run a center quadruplet, a center foursome. Phrasing. You can run a group of centers down the middle that is Fantilli, Sillinger, Del Bovoluz, Corrali, which is honestly pretty great. Average age of those centers is like 12 because Delbo Blues is 20, Fantilli is 20, Cole Sillinger is 21. I don't think he turns 22 until March. And then you've got Sean Corrali, who's like 30, the only adult in the room. But having Sillinger back, great news. Looked great last night. I thought he did really well. I don't know what the face-offs looked like for the Blue Jackets because Vegas is the face-offs are like face-offs are tough. The answer is Adam Fantilli did great, 52%. Sillinger, Delbar Blues both struggled. Corrali was at 50%. Justin Danforth must have taken one face-off because he was at 100%. So a real kind of an up and down night on the face-off dot. The Knights won the face-off battle pretty handily at almost 60%, but Blue Jackets won where it counts. So shout out to Fantilli, shout out to Sillinger. Great to have Sillinger back. Again, like Sillinger and Johnson play really well together, and I think that also is a big thing. Like, not that Johnson has been playing badly since Sillinger was out of the lineup, because he's been playing well. And he might just be one of those guys that plays well. Like, it is just a good player, you know? But I think Sillinger and Johnson really enjoy playing together, and I think that they have good chemistry, and I think they complement each other really well. So great to have Sillinger back. Love that duo. Let's keep it going, you know? I want to talk about one last thing, and that is the goaltending, which is continuing to impress me. And like, I don't know about anyone else, but is anyone else kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop here? Because again, another great Elvis start in Vegas. Obviously, Elvis was going to have a good game in Vegas. That's how this works. But I do wonder, is this a hot streak, or is this confidence building, or is this a mysterious third option? So we're going to talk about that in just a second here on Locked On Blue Jackets. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. Time to talk about goaltending. We all love to talk about goaltending. Elvis, excellent. Again, last night, 25 saves on 26 shots for a .962 save percentage, meaning his last 3 games, he has got a .966, a .939, and a .962 save percentage. All wins. Has allowed only 4 goals in his last 3 games on like approximately 100 shots. Not quite 100 shots, like 90-ish shots. 29 plus 33 plus 26 is simply math that I can't do on the fly. But continues to pick up. He's sitting at an .896 save percentage right now on the season, which like doesn't sound great on the surface. However, league average goaltending this year right now is sitting at about .895. His expected goals against is about 2.9, and he's currently sitting at 2.8 in actual goals against. So like, he is only barely like above where he should be, and like only barely above what the numbers say that he should be at. But considering when you look at like the last handful of seasons and like the slow and then rapid downward slide that he had been on, I will take just above average for Merzlikins. You know, I'm just pulling up his numbers on moneypuck.com. You know, I love to look at advanced stats. I know just enough to make me dangerous. Elvis has allowed 96 goals this season in all situations. His expected goals against is 97.75. So he's saved about almost 2 goals above expected, which is, again, not a lot, but last season he saved minus 6 goals above expected. So he allowed 6 more goals than he should have done, essentially across the course of the season. So on paper, it's like, yeah, okay, he's basically just above average, but when you look at like the improvement from year to year, like he's having a honestly a pretty good season. In terms of like where he matches up against the big boys, like it's not like so like the leader right now is Connor Hellebuck, who's saved 30 goals above expected, which is insane. But he is sitting where is he? Like he's 36th in the league. So like not one of the top 30 goalies in terms of numbers. But like that includes guys like Jackson Storber, who's played 4 games this season, and Levi Merilainen, who's played 11 games this season, and Marcus Hogberg, who's played 7 games this season. So like if you ramp that up to, let's say, 15 games played this season, because that should be most of your starters, he does jump up into the top 30. Again, are we kind of cherry picking stats here? A little bit. If you look at minimum games played for 20, he jumps up again to 27th. Again, not Vezina numbers, and we're not looking at like the Blue Jackets do not live and die by their goaltending. You know, we've discussed this. Not in the way that, like, for example, the Winnipeg Jets do. Connor Hellebuck having an incredible season. For them, would love to see what they look like without Hellebuck for any length of time. But this is not to discount the fact that the Winnipeg Jets are a very good team, by the way. But Connor Hellebuck is definitely a big part of their success. And Elvis has been a part of the Blue Jackets' success, but it's not like to the same extent, you know. And again, I've been saying this for what, like 3 seasons now. If they can get league average goaltending out of Elvis, like they're on fire. You know, they are cooking with gas. They are getting slightly above league average Elvis right now. It's a winner. You know, this is what they needed. If Elvis can keep this up, incredible. But honestly, all I ask of Elvis is 900 goaltending every night. And he's given us that for, let's see, 4 of his last 5 starts, 5 of his last 6. So, since January 7th, which was the Pittsburgh game, which he won, he's only had one. His lowest save percentage was an .880 against the Islanders, in which no one was very good. And then he's got 5 games where he had a save percentage of .935 or higher. So we're on a really, really good stretch from Elvis right now. Hopefully he can keep it up. And again, like the save percentage doesn't look great, that .896, but like it started pretty bad. Like his first 5 games, he had 3 games where his save percentage was an .885 or lower. You know, he had a shutout in that space as well, but like, again, it's been a real up and down season for Elvis. He has 2 good games, he has 2 bad games, he has a good game and then a bad game, and then 3 good games and then 2 bad games. So like, I'm sure the other shoe will drop at some point, but right now, like, Elvis is not the reason they're winning games, but he is a big part of it, and he was huge last night for the Blue Jackets. I had his numbers pulled up, but I lost it because, of course, I did. It was on Blue Sky. It was Micah Blake McCurdy. The Blue Jackets scored 2 goals last night on, I think, about 2 expected goals worth ish. Elvis allowed 1 goal on about 3 expected goals. So he saved, I think, about 2 goals above expected, which is basically all you can ask of him, you know, is give the team a chance to win. And he did. Cole Sillinger finishes it off. And again, everyone did just great. Great game. A lot of fun. Can they do it again? I was going to talk about Utah, but I am running a little bit long on this episode. So, hey, let's do an episode later today. Let's do like an evening episode. Maybe I'll go live. Who can say? We'll talk a little bit about Utah. We'll talk a little bit about whatever you guys want to talk about. Let's do a live episode this evening. Probably about 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern. Let's call it happy hour because we haven't done one of those in a minute. But that's all for me today, or all for me on this episode. Thank you for listening, for making it your first listen of the day every single day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and over on YouTube. Thank you for listening. And I've been Jay Foster. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER. You can find the show at LO_Blue Jacket. Email me at lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. Yeah, I don't know why the outro is such a struggle for me today. I'm doing my best here, I promise. But you can email me there if you have comments, questions, criticisms. Thank you once again for listening. And until tomorrow, or until later tonight, I should say, make sure you stay locked on.